Silent killer. The 12 alarming signs of liver damage you can't afford to ignore. What if I told you there's a silent killer living inside millions of people, right now? And most have no idea it's eating away at their health from the inside out. Liver disease is claiming more lives than ever before, often without a single obvious symptom, until it's too late. And here's the terrifying part. Your body, if you don't want to be caught off guard, you need to hear this. Because we're uncovering the 12 most overlooked signs of liver damage that you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. And trust me, the last few signs on this list, they're shocking and could be the red flag that saves your life. So stick around until the end. Your liver is a quiet warrior. It filters over 1.5 liters of blood per minute, detoxifies everything you consume, regulates hormones, stores vital nutrients, and performs more than 500 life-supporting tasks, all without making a sound. But when it starts to fail, the consequences ripple through every system in your body. Here's the scary truth. 42% of US adults already have some form of liver disease, and 2.3 billion people worldwide are now affected by non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's 1 in 3 people. And liver-related deaths have skyrocketed, quadrupling since 1970. Most people don't find out until it's too late. That's why today's video could be one of the most important you'll ever watch. But before we get started, welcome back to Holistic Habits. If you're serious about understanding what your body's trying to tell you before it's too late, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. All right, now let's dive into the first silent but critical warning sign your liver might already be sending you. And it's one most people chalk up to just being tired. Number 1, fatigue and weakness. The engine's red light you're ignoring. Let's kick things off with a warning sign most people completely overlook. Chronic, unexplained fatigue. And no, this isn't your usual, I stayed up too late, tired. This is exhaustion that seeps into your bones. Like your body is stuck in slow motion no matter how much you rest. It feels like wading through quicksand all day long. Here's what most don't realize. Up to 80% of people with chronic liver disease experience this exact symptom. It's often one of the earliest red flags that your liver is in trouble. Your liver is your body's filtration powerhouse, processing toxins, fueling your cells, and regulating your internal engine. But when it's inflamed or overworked, toxins begin backing up in your bloodstream. Imagine trying to drive with a clogged fuel filter. Your engine runs, but poorly. That toxic buildup doesn't just drag you down physically. It clouds your mind, drains your motivation, and disrupts your mood. You may feel irritable, anxious, or just too exhausted to function, and most people never connect it to their liver until it's too late. So if you're feeling unusually wiped out despite sleeping well, eating right, and staying active, don't ignore it. Your body might be flashing a critical warning light, and your liver could be at the heart of it. Number 2, abdominal pain and swelling. The pressure you can't afford to ignore. It often begins as a dull ache in the upper right side of your abdomen, easy to brush off. But that discomfort could be your liver sounding the alarm. As liver damage worsens, inflammation and scarring disrupt blood flow, causing fluid to leak into your abdominal cavity. The result? A condition called ascites. Visible swelling and pressure that can make even simple movement feel unbearable. Here's the alarming truth. Over 50% of cirrhosis patients develop ascites within 10 years. And once it shows up, the risk of serious complications skyrockets. Left untreated, it carries a 50% mortality rate within just 2 years. And it's not just your belly that swells. Fluid buildup can press against your lungs, making it hard to breathe, hard to sleep, and hard to live normally. Imagine carrying a water balloon inside your abdomen 24/7. That's the constant pressure ascites brings. The root issue? Your liver can't produce enough albumin, the protein that keeps fluids inside your blood vessels. Without it, liquid seeps into surrounding tissue. If you're dealing with stubborn bloating, a tight midsection, or unexplained belly weight gain, don't dismiss it as digestion. These could be serious signs that your liver is in distress. Number 3, jaundice. When your skin turns into a warning sign. Ever looked in the mirror and noticed your eyes or skin looking a little yellow? That's not bad lighting. It could be your liver waving a bright red flag. This yellowing, called jaundice, happens when your liver can't properly process bilirubin, a yellow pigment formed when red blood cells break down. Normally, your liver filters out bilirubin with ease. But when it's overwhelmed by fat buildup, scarring, or infection, that pigment builds up in your bloodstream, tinting your skin, eyes, and even your urine a dark amber. In darker skin tones, it can be harder to spot. But check the whites of your eyes, the palms, or inside of your mouth. If those areas start looking yellow, don't ignore it. A 2024 study found that jaundice increases mortality risk by 63% in chronic liver disease patients. That's not something to brush off. Sadly, many people feel a bit off and miss the warning until it's too late. If you're seeing yellow, your liver is in crisis. This isn't cosmetic. It's a clear sign your internal filter is clogged and toxins are rising fast. Number 4, itchy skin. Pruritus, the scratch that never quits. We all get itchy sometimes, but this is different. This isn't the kind of itch a little lotion fixes, relentless and often worse at night. And if it's happening regularly, your liver might be trying to send a serious message. This intense itching, known as pruritus, often stems from a buildup of bile salts in your bloodstream. When your liver isn't filtering properly, that bile, which is supposed to help break down fats, starts spilling into your blood instead of your gut and your skin. It takes the hit. Up to 70% of people with chronic liver disease experience this. But it's more than just annoying. It can wreck your sleep, heighten anxiety, and even trigger depression. What's worse? It often shows up before other major symptoms. So if you're scratching constantly, especially at night. Number 5, dark urine and pale stools, your body's hidden warning lights. You might not think twice about the color of your urine or stools, but your liver definitely wants you to. When something's wrong, these two can be some of the earliest, most visible clues that your liver is under stress. Dark urine, often described as tea or cola-colored, is a sign that bilirubin is building up in your bloodstream instead of being filtered out by your liver and excreted through your digestive system. Meanwhile, pale or clay-colored stools can indicate that bile, the substance that normally gives stool its brown color, isn't making it into your intestines like it should. Together, these two symptoms shout, liver alert. In fact, a survey found that 62% of liver disease patients notice these changes before getting diagnosed. These are your body's natural warning lights. Subtle, but powerful. If you've noticed darker urine or stools that lack their usual color, don't ignore it or chalk it up to dehydration or a fluke. It could be the earliest indication of a liver that's struggling and desperately trying to keep up. Number 6, bruising and bleeding easily when your liver can't hold the line. Here's something that might seem minor, until it's not. If you're bruising from the lightest bump or your cuts just won't stop bleeding, your liver could be sounding the alarm. And it's not a signal you can afford to ignore. That's because your liver is responsible for producing most of the proteins that help your blood clot. When it's damaged, those clotting factors drop. Suddenly, small injuries become real risks. In fact, 45% of people with cirrhosis experience significant clotting issues, making something as simple as a nosebleed potentially dangerous. And it gets worse. Without proper clotting, even a light bump can turn into a painful, lingering bruise. Imagine brushing your arm on a table and ending up with a black and blue mark that sticks around for weeks. So, if you're seeing unusual bruises or bleeding more than normal, don't shrug it off. This could be your liver losing control of one of its most critical jobs, keeping you safe from the inside out. Now let's move on, because the next warning sign, it hits even closer to home. Number 7, nausea and loss of appetite. When your gut starts whispering warnings, have you ever noticed food just doesn't appeal to you anymore? Or worse, you feel nauseous at the thought of eating. That's not just a bad day. It could be your liver crying out for help. Here's what's really happening. When your liver struggles, toxins build up in your bloodstream, and your gut feels the pressure. That wave of queasiness, that drop in appetite, it's not random. It's your digestive system reacting to the overload. And the danger here? It's a domino effect. Loss of appetite leads to weight loss, and over time, malnutrition. Up to 50% of people with advanced liver disease suffer from malnutrition, and that weakens your body's ability to recover, repair, and even fight infections. Imagine this. Your liver is like a factory. If it's overwhelmed and understaffed, production slows, garbage piles up, and pretty soon, the whole system backs up. That's your gut. And nausea is the warning light. So if your appetite's vanished or meals are suddenly making you nauseous, don't ignore it. Your liver could be waving a white flag, and you need to pay attention. Stick around, because the next sign is one of the most terrifying and overlooked of them all. Number 8. Cognitive changes, brain fog, that's more than just a long day. If you've ever stared at your screen, struggling to remember what you were doing, or felt like your thoughts were trapped in molasses, don't dismiss it as simple tiredness. This could be a serious warning sign. Hepatic encephalopathy. When your liver fails to filter toxins like ammonia from your blood, those toxins reach your brain, clouding memory, blurring focus, even shifting your personality. Up to 45% of people with cirrhosis experience cognitive decline, yet most have no idea their liver is the root cause. Think of your brain as a high-powered computer and your liver as the antivirus. When the liver breaks down, toxins flood the system, slowing everything, corrupting memory, and short-circuiting your clarity. It usually starts small. Maybe you're forgetting appointments, feeling irritable, or losing focus. But if untreated, it can spiral into confusion, disorientation, and even coma. So if your mind feels foggy more often than clear, don't brush it off. This isn't just brain fog. It could be your liver crying out through your nervous system. The next sign? It's visible, dramatic, and way too easy to overlook. Let's keep going. Number 9, spider angiomas, the tiny red warning signs on your skin. You know those small, red, spider-like veins that show up on your chest, neck, or face? Most people brush them off as harmless, but they might be your skin's way of sounding the alarm. They're called spider angiomas, and they form when liver damage causes hormonal imbalances, especially a buildup of estrogen your liver can't break down. These clusters of dilated blood vessels show up in about 1/3 of people with cirrhosis, and the more you see, the more severe the liver damage may be. Think of your skin as a mirror. When your liver gets clogged and can't filter hormones properly, what should stay hidden inside begins to show up on the outside, literally backing up through your bloodstream and surfacing on your skin. The most alarming part? These marks often appear early, before the more obvious symptoms hit. But because they're painless, they're easy to ignore. And that's where the danger lies. So if you're suddenly noticing red spidery patches that weren't there before, especially if they're multiplying, it's not just a cosmetic issue. It's a red flag waving you toward a liver check. And speaking of red flags, the next sign might feel like you're carrying a burden in your own body. Let's get into it. Number 10, swelling in the legs and ankles, when your liver can't hold back the floodgates. If your legs or ankles start ballooning for no clear reason, especially by day's end, it might be more than just salty food or long hours on your feet. It could be your liver waving a distress flag. This kind of swelling, called edema, happens when your liver stops making enough albumin, a crucial protein that keeps fluids inside your blood vessels. Without it, fluid seeps into your tissues. Picture albumin like the walls of a dam. When they weaken, the flood spills out. And that flood shows up as puffy legs, ankles, and sometimes even feet or thighs. Up to 50% of people with cirrhosis develop edema. And it's more than a cosmetic annoyance. It can make walking uncomfortable, disrupt your sleep, and increase your risk of skin infections. The scariest part? Most people never link leg swelling to liver damage. They assume it's minor. But if your socks are leaving deep marks or your legs feel unusually heavy, your body could be trying to warn you. Don't ignore it. Swelling like this is one of those subtle signals that your liver might be losing control. And coming up next, this sign is something you can feel with your own hands. And it just might surprise you. Number 11, enlarged liver, the warning sign you can literally feel. Now imagine this. You're lying down and feel a strange, hard mass just beneath your right rib cage. That's not your imagination. It could be your liver sending a serious warning. An enlarged liver, or hepatomegaly, often creeps in quietly. You may notice dull pressure or tightness in the upper right abdomen, but this isn't just about discomfort. It's your body flashing a red alert. The liver swells when it's inflamed, packed with fat, or overwhelmed by toxins, viruses, or disease. Here's what matters. The bigger the liver, the more trouble it's in. Imaging studies show that liver size directly tracks with disease severity. Once it becomes noticeably enlarged, you're beyond the early stage and into a zone where reversal is harder and risks skyrocket. The problem? Most people brush it off as bloating or a heavy meal. But if that firmness lingers or feels tender, it's not something to ignore. Routine checkups and an ultrasound can spot hepatomegaly early, but only if you know what to look for. And speaking of symptoms that can hit like a curveball, this next one doesn't just affect the body. It hits your confidence and quality of life in a way most men never see coming. Number 12, gynecomastia and testicular atrophy. When hormones turn against you. This one's rarely discussed, but it can be one of the most distressing signs of advanced liver damage, especially for men. When the liver can't process excess estrogen, hormone levels spiral. The result? Gynecomastia, male breast enlargement, and testicular atrophy, or shrinking of the testicles. This isn't aging. It's a hormone imbalance caused by liver dysfunction. And it doesn't stop there. Mood swings, loss of libido, and body composition changes often follow, leaving many men confused, frustrated, and embarrassed. Up to 66% of men with cirrhosis experience these hormonal shifts. But these symptoms aren't random. They're your body's way of saying, something deeper is wrong. Ignoring them delays healing. Addressing the root, your liver, can help restore balance and bring your health back on track. Recent discoveries and alarming trends, the silent epidemic no one's talking about. Liver disease is no longer rare or limited to heavy drinkers. It's now one of the top 10 causes of death in the US, claiming over 54,000 lives a year. Shockingly, 3 out of 4 people with cirrhosis are only diagnosed after severe, life-threatening symptoms appear. And alcohol isn't the only villain. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, driven by processed food, sugar, inactivity, and chronic stress, is now affecting 2.3 billion people worldwide. That's nearly 1 in 3 people with silent liver damage they don't even know about. It doesn't stop at food. New studies reveal BPA in plastics, air pollution, and even common medications can spark hidden liver inflammation. Your liver is constantly fighting to keep you safe, but it can only handle so much before the damage becomes visible. Here's the hope. Your liver is the only organ that can fully regenerate. With the right care, diet, and lifestyle changes, it can regrow up to 70% of its damaged tissue in just a few weeks. That's not hype. It's a biological miracle. But it only works if you act early. So don't wait for the warning signs to scream. You now know what to look for. And that knowledge, it might just save your life. Your wake-up call starts now. Liver damage doesn't knock. It whispers, until it screams. But now, you've got the knowledge to catch it before it's too late. Your liver is one of the only organs that can regenerate itself, but only if you act early and treat it right. So, here's what to do next. Smash that like button if this helped open your eyes, and subscribe to Holistic Habits for more game-changing health content. And let's talk in the comments. Have you experienced any of these symptoms? Were you surprised by how many are linked to liver health? Or maybe you've made changes to heal your liver. What worked for you? Drop your story below and let's help each other stay healthy. Stay sharp. Stay proactive. And most importantly, take care of your liver before it's too late. Thank you for watching.